Hello, I'm Karen Jenkins-Johnson, principal of Jenkins-Johnson Gallery in San Francisco and New York. Thank you for joining us. My team and I hope that you are healthy, safe, and well during these very challenging times. We welcome you to our 10th conversation.
I can't hear.
Can somebody let Blessing hear? Rachel?
Oh, okay. Now I hear you. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Here we go.
I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
This internet world is like taking over.
That's okay. We're live. We're live. So we just roll with it. So I was telling everybody, Blessing, that I'm Karen Jenkins-Johnson, principal at Jenkins-Johnson Gallery in San Francisco and New York. Thank you for joining us. My team and I hope that you're healthy, safe, and well during these very challenging times. We welcome you to our 10th Conversation on Culture, a weekly discussion during the COVID-19 pandemic with artists, curators, and collectors on current art world topics. Today, I'll be in conversation with Blessing Ngobeni of South Africa, who is shown with my gallery on various projects since 2016. He is the recipient of the 2020 Standard Bank Young Artist for Visual Arts Award, the highest award an emerging artist can receive in South Africa. Blessing Ngobeni, originally from the small rural town of Zenine, South Africa, currently lives in Limpopo. He is a multidisciplinary artist working in painting, collage, sculpture, video animation. Can you hear us, Blessing?
I hear you, but you're very low, very low.
Oh, okay. Let me turn up the volume. Can you turn up your volume as well?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, let me turn up my volume. Here we go. All right, so I'm louder now. Maybe you can hear me. Can you hear me better?
Can you hear you, but very low.
Okay, I will speak louder. So he's a multidisciplinary artist working in painting, collage, sculpture, and video animation, sound installation, and live performance. He has created a hybrid of language. Yes, I'm sorry, everybody. We're live right now. Yes, we're on live, Roy.
Oh, so,
yep.
All right, sorry, okay, no problem. Everything is in order. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Can you hear me, Blessing?
I hear you, but you're very low.
All right, I will talk louder. He's a multidisciplinary artist working in painting, collage, sculpture, video animation, sound installations, and live performance. He has created a hybrid language that includes Surrealism, Dada, and Neo-Expressionism. His work has a fusion of nightmarish, absurd, beautiful, and captivating images. Blessing critiques the political regime of South Africa. His large-scale, multi-layered canvases combine imagery from magazines, books, and social media within his distinctive figurative characters to reflect the various perspectives of current affairs of our era. He attended Artist Proof Studio in Newton, South Africa, received the Reinhold Cassier Award, the Impact Award from the Arts and Cultural Trust. He attended residencies including the Marin Headland Center for Art, Marin County outside of San Francisco, the Cleveland Foundation Creative Fusion Program, and the graffiti workshop in Paris called Graffiti Kama. He's been included in Phaidon's Vitamin P3, and Artspace has named him one of the most important African painters working today. As part of the Standard Bank Young Artist Visual Award for Visual Arts, he will have an exhibition called Chaotic Pleasure at the National Arts Festival in 2021, which travels to various cultural institutions throughout South Africa. He has established 2 Young Artist Awards, the Blessing Ngobeni Studio Art Prize, and secondly, the Initiative. There will be a Q&A at the end of the conversation, so please send us questions via the Q&A button at the end of your screen. Also join in the chat during the conversation. And during the conversation, a survey will pop up on your screen. We appreciate if you take a few seconds to answer that. So today we are all the way live from South Africa. We welcome Blessing to Conversations on Culture. it's currently 9 in the evening out where he is. So thank you for agreeing to this conversation so late in your evening.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the new world, the indoors world, the internet world. Yeah. But you're still very low. That's the problem.
That's okay.
Low. Do you hear me properly?
Yes. So we're fine. So what I wanted to say that while we're beginning our conversation, Blessing, we'll present a quick slideshow of your work to provide the attendees with a visual overview of your practice. And we, of course, will come back to that and pick specific works during our conversation. So just to get started, we'll be doing this quick little view. And then while that's happening, I wanted to ask you, we're just going to get right to it, Blessing. What's it like being a Black man in South Africa?
I think the system itself, it's a global system that does not want a Black person to at some point be independent in any way, So it's very tough. I mean, I'm talking like from the white space to the Black space, like the Black on Black issues, where we hate each other, like we have tribal issues that are not being solved, since for the many years, all this and that. So for me, being Black, I mean, in any way in the world, you are a victim of why you are alive or something, because you are not given like an opportunity to practice what you can do or to add good ideas into the economy, or so being a Black in general, I don't know who cursed us, as Black people, that we find ourselves in a position where we have to now resist and riot because of people. They don't want to give us a space to live like a decent life, So for me, I think as an African artist who is pushing the same, who wants to break the chains, who wants to be independent, who wants to live a free life without involving other people to lead or to rule our life. For instance, in Africa, we have an issue of land. The people of origin, they don't enjoy these spaces. They don't have big spaces. There was a system that was created back then, gray areas where people, they taken away from the city, they squashed somewhere. But at the very same time, the same people, they are the ones that go back to these cities and work, And then when they work, they are not working for their own, where they're going to benefit. No, they work for another person. They get paid less, all this and that. So when you think about all these things, it's a huge challenge that a Black skin is facing in an international space. The law itself, it was created according to different ethnic groups, yes. where me as I'm a Shangani, if I had to divide myself from the other people, there is a Zulu, there is a Tswana. So each tribe has its own rules that was designed by the system, not by themselves, which make it difficult for us to love each other, from different tribes. And it's very, hello?
Yes, I'm here.
So it's very tough, because when you look at like the authority itself, the authority, when I look at it, also divides, the people, because you find out, for instance, the issue of what is going on in America right now,
yes.
Where a Black person is not allowed to say a word or is not allowed to say something, they kill you, So even here, it does happen like almost I was reading this story, I think 3 days back, where this old man laid charges against the white person who just, you know, saw him and then just start punching him because they were drunk. You know, the white boys, they were drunk and they start punching this old man. You know, so those kind of things, they are telling us that we are not needed. You know, and but we are the right people, right owners of these spaces, but we're not given a chance, you know, to practice what we can say it can contribute in our own economy, you know, because when you look at it at large, there is a, you know, for instance, in Africa we have divisions already, like borderism issues, where if you want to cross to another country, it's another issue. So ourselves, we need to sort ourselves first before we start attacking, maybe not attacking as fight, but, you know, telling the truth about who we are, what we need, you know. So for me, if we start beginning about saying we're opening these spaces, we walk free, we go in any way in Africa without being stopped, that's the very beginning of a change, you know, that can also allow our fellow brothers in America to walk in Africa and start becoming part and parcel of us, you know, as one people. So it's very tough being black in any way in the world. I mean, already right now with the COVID-19, the Chinese people, they are telling that black people are the ones who are bringing corona, which is like insane itself, you know. So yeah, I mean, I think for me, when I look at it, the leadership itself does not value their own people, you know, does not give their own people first priority in anything, you know. Let's say projects, you know, huge projects, they are given to another people, not like to Chinese, to white people, you know. Us were the last options. But when it comes to the time when it's time to vote, they come. Me here. I don't know. I told you call. I'm so sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's a huge challenge that we're all facing right now. You know, specific like now with the COVID-19 that we are indoors, so we further go down in poverty. You know, there's no way that we can live like freely, walk freely, have a business practice freely. I will give you an example about, I have other businesses that I do outside art. For instance, I have a chicken farm. They give us the last grade of the chicks.
Oh,
you know, last grade. They take first grade, they give to their own, you know, the scheme, the cycle that they have. Then they give black person the last option. It could be food, it could be anything. They throw those rubbish to us, you know, which is, it's not good, you know.
Right.
Not good at all. Yeah.
So what I hear you saying is that there's still the hierarchy of the whites over the blacks, and the blacks are the lowest on the totem pole still to this day. So so that shifts us into, you know, apartheid has clearly had an influence on your work, and you were born in 1985, so you were not, quote, born free. So born free is born after 1994, if that's, and how has apartheid, how has that evolved over time and influenced you as an artist? How has that gotten into you, this black man, into your soul?
Yeah, I think to tell you the truth about apartheid never it never like abolished it in any way. It's just that when the leadership switched hands, yes, when a black person took over, it was not mean that the black person has full ownership of taking proper decisions about whatever that you want to change in his country. So it's more of like this black person, there is a person with strings who controls that person's mind in anyhow. Because when apartheid in 1994, when former president of the country, Mandela, took over, there were so many secrets meetings that happened during that time, which those secret meetings, they were about to say, we give you the chance to lead, but we don't give you the wealthy, the money so that your people can enjoy the money. So the only thing that happened, they only selected certain people that were in the leadership and then gave them, for instance, Cyril Ramaphosa, out of nowhere, he was an owner of the mines, all this and that. So you think of those things, they were given these businesses because they wanted to shut them down, so that to shut them up so that they cannot influence the masses, so that because the masses, once the masses know about all these things, of course, the rioting and the protest will rise, So hence, if you know the issue of Chris Hani was walked out of the meeting saying, I wouldn't agree with the terms and conditions that W. Botha brought here, because it still suppress and oppress the black child, So who we are today, we just people who are still under the so-called they brushed it, they brushed it with a black person, but still, because if we were fully out of apartheid, yes. I believe that there were so many changes that would have been happening to our black people. There's so much squatter camps, that is fully of things, I call it dump sites because people, they were thrown there to live in squatter camps where you don't have a space to move, I mean, a size of a room, there's 5 or 10 people. You have to raise a child there. You have to educate your child there. You have to cook there. You have to make love there. So everything happened in one room. Do you get what I mean? That it shows that there were nothing that were given to a black person. So I still believe that maybe in a long run, according to how my wish, I still want to see the youth take over and bring new ideas in the leadership, because we don't have all the old folks. They just people, who are guided by other people. There's a person who controls them. So I still say, even those that they call them born frees, they are born frees to resort into drugs, to resort into these highly substances that are killing their life, because if you look at the youth is not enjoying anything that is so-called democracy. So I sometimes call it democracy is a dusty bin, because it makes people to believe that they are into democracy, but they are not. You know what I mean? They are just people who are roaming around with the that idea of saying we are into democracy. So I don't know, but according to how I think apartheid is still existing, just that it's more academic, where a black person must go educate himself to work for a white person and make money for a white person, but not for himself.
Right. So Blessing, this is, I'd like you to, is there a slide we can bring up so you can kind of demonstrate that and talk about that in one of your pieces that you sent us via, so we can put up so the attendees could see how you voice that in your practice. Is there a piece you can?
Yeah, you can. I think we can pick maybe, I don't know if the guy put a democratic slave master. I don't know if he's there, but if it's not there, there's, yeah, there are so many works, eh? But
yes.
But yeah, you can bring any work that is there. Then I'll just pick it, and then I'll let you know which one should I Can you put it on the thinger? Can
Yes.
Michael put it on the, so that I can remember which one and which one?
Yes, there's a slave master.
This one, yeah, specifically this one.
Mm-hmm.
Auctions African currency.
Right. Is
Yeah.
that Biko in there? Is that Stephen Biko?
Yeah, there is Stephen Biko. There's so much politicians that I've embedded there. There's our currency, because the money that is there is original money that I put it there, because I felt like that is how the African soil, African landscapes or lands were sold out to the white person, because the white person is the only person that benefit from it, not the people of origin. So the people of origin, they are not in anyhow where they get a slice of anything from that land, So yeah, that's why the title is Auctioned African Currency, because all the natural resources that this Africa has is not being consumed by us, it's consumed somewhere by other people, and then we cannot even produce what we can consume. We produce, we give it away. So the Western world, hence, the meeting that they held, in the Berlin meeting a long time ago, when they started to chop Africa into pieces, sharing, and they even shared the humans. And the question again that is lying there is, they say black people's lives started after slave ship. No, which is not true. We had life before slave ship. You know what I mean? We were rich, all those kind of things. And then when the slave ship moved in, they destroyed the history before the slave ship, which means right now, what we only teach our kids is something that is not us, which does not give our kids that inspirationally spirit, so that they can do better. If they can know about Wansa Musa and all these other rich people that used to be kings in Africa, they would get inspiration to start working harder so that they can bring back the dignity. So yeah, so you look at that, and then through the city window, it's what we see on the on the scenes, on the TVs, for instance, I lived in the city in Johannesburg for almost, I don't know, for years, and I've been witnessing the hardship that people go through daily. I've been witnessing people fight for a small space to sell sweets, At some point, I witnessed these guys who just went and hold this other guy and stabbed them, stab this guy till, so you ask yourself these questions, like, what is it that a black person cannot do that does not permit or allow him to walk free in these cities, without being questioned, For instance, if you look at the history of the black person or black man in America, you just being harassed. When you walk, you're being questioned. Why are you being questioned, whereas you are the citizen of the country? You know what I mean? Why are you being questioned?
We built the country.
You build the country.
We built the country. Yeah. We black people, they are the ones who build almost everything. If you look at it very clearly, through the city window, it's also looking at how the rights of black people were taken away, especially when a black person invents something or machinery or something. A white person come and claim and buy that black person out, and that invention will last generation to generation, which now it's only benefit who? The white person, not the black person who invented the thing, So we're still struggling around those, For me, I see through those things that makes me to decide whether am I close enough to be a child of a lesser God,
you know, like I don't know, I don't qualify to live, or I'm not fit enough to own something, you know. Yeah, for instance, when you look at a landscape of blind eyes, you know, it's a question. It's a blunt question that I'm bringing up, you know. So blind eyes in these landscapes, do we see enough that we can be better off without a white person next to us, or without embracing a white person? Or do we want to change it where a white person can feel the pain, like wear our shoes, you know? Like, I just wish at some point where the wheel would turn around, where a white person can become a slave, for instance. A white person can work for me, you know? A white person can build these buildings and all this and that we did long time ago, and see how it's gonna sit into these people, you know what I mean? Because it's painful. And there's a lot of, what I call it, a lot of pretending that you pretend as if you love this black skin, but you not. You only love a black skin when it benefits you, you know? You pretend to love that person during that time when the black person's sweat is only being enjoyed by him, by a white person, you know what I mean? So it became a tough situation into, you know, into how we see these things, you know? So we're so blind in such a way that, I don't know, like, it's a question. I mean, I cannot, I don't want to lie, like, I question these things in my work, and at the very same time, I want my work to be free, you know, in such a way that it speaks free.
Yes, yeah.
Is calling again, sorry.
You're fine.
It speaks free, you know, it gives me a chance to express myself. My son is calling. Let me, I'll just let it ring.
Okay. Okay, that's okay. That's all right. So can you hear me?
Yeah, you went lower again. You were up, okay. But you went lower.
All right. So, you know, this is all very interesting because we're going through the same thing here in America with the current George Floyd murder, the Arbery murder, all that's happening here. We're starting to see, and you can see it on Instagram, all these white institutions, white people, all of a sudden black people are their best friend, and here's my token black, and here's, this is what we're doing in to help blacks. And it's rather disgusting, actually, because where were they, you know, where were they when black people were knocking on their door previously? They weren't letting people into their businesses. They weren't hiring. They're still not paying us at the same rate that we should be paid, as white people are being paid. White men are being paid more than anybody. And so this suppression is global, and it takes people to their core. And I think it's great that you put this and you ask questions in your work. And you continue to just push the boundaries. You don't care what, you know, what you put in there. And that's what's so fun with you. You're just like,
yeah, you know, when you mention the brutality in America, I think when I was in Cleveland during my residence, I visited where Tamaya Rice. You remember Tamaya Rice?
Yes.
The child that was killed by police for carrying a toy gun, and then I did a piece titled. I saw it on the slide. Titled brutality. Michael, so it was my comment. Yeah, it was my comment on how the law enforcement creates this tension between different races, because to understand that if a white person kills a black person, obviously, yeah, that one is the piece, you know, brutality. I did it in 2016 during my residence in Cleveland. So I looked at how the police force, you know, creates tension between two people like the white and black. Because if a white police kill a black person, obviously, as a community or as a society, we don't now look at that police as individual. We look at the police as a person that represents the white person that hates the black person, which now we further, you know, so the authority has to, at some point, create peace before they create this hatred between these races, you know. And I did the piece because I wanted to honor and remember Tamaya Rice, because if you look at the corner, he is there on the corner on top of the thinger, and then on the thinger there is a police force who is holding a dog and a rifle, a gun, and then at the background there is this silhouette of images that I was talking about, those that passed on before a long time. They are watching, you know.
They're witnesses.
People like Martin Luther King and these other veterans that once at some point fought for our Black Americans brothers' freedom, you know. So I wanted to bring that into the work so that it can, you know, the dog itself, it represents that idea of how they always release the dog to cage a black person, you know, which is it happens a lot here it happened a lot in South Africa during the apartheid system, when they would release dogs in a field where there are black people, and, you know, use the dogs to train how to catch people, you know, using black people as a bait, you know. So for me, it takes us to way back, long time ago. I mean, you remember the story of when they used our black children, young children, to bait for alligators, you know. I think you know. I'm sure you know that story. Where
no, can you tell us about it?
In a river so that they can catch the crocodiles and all these big animals that used to be, you know, just to test. So it's a brutality that is happening within this society, where the black person or the black skin is a victim of anything. Let it be a labor, let it be finance. You know, we are regarded as people who cannot do something for ourselves. You know, we are the last option in anyhow. You know, so when you think around those issues, then you question yourself: why are we being killed? You know, what did we do that? Are we not enough? You know, or what is it that makes white people to feel that we are dangerous to them? You know, whereas some of us, we are just people who wants to engage, who wants to be part of the thinkers, who wants to bring the dialogue to the surface so that we can, all of us, engage and talk and share. You know, how will we share if we are being killed? So that was the question mark that the blunt question that is hanging on the air.
Right, right. So how are you as a Black father? You have a son. How old is your son?
He's 10-year-old now.
Okay, so he's 10.
He's a 10. Yeah.
Right. So that brings me to, let's go back to when you were 10. And let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about your youth and what developed Blessing. Where did you come from? Where were you? Who are your people? How has it impacted you?
I think for me, as a child who was raised by single parents, not raised per se, but I was given to different families because I never belonged in any other family, you know. For instance, in our society, there's a term called Goya. Goya is a stray cat, you know. So you've been called, and there's a name of contempt that they give to you, not give to you, but they call you because you don't belong in both families, you know. You belong either to Norway, you belong to the bush, you know. So that was the question that was given to me as I was growing up. But this name gave me strength, gave me power to face the world and challenge it. You know, I did not allow that stray cat name to suppress my own belief and my own energy that I can do better without, dependent on any person. So for me, my upbringing was very self, I would survive on my own from the very young age. I mean, I'm talking about when I was 6, I was able to be able to move around because no one took care of me. So I had to survive on my own. And then when I moved to Joburg, I was 10. I started to survive, as a young child, looking for a better life, knowing that no one is on my side. I'm alone. I'm happy that when those things happened, I got arrested, and then it's part and parcel of learning as a child. And then I stayed. I was sentenced to 9 years in prison. I stayed 5 years, 6 months because there was a 2-year suspended for the gun, all this and that. And then, I came out. I learned how to paint in prison. I first bought myself a sneaker by a tiny man that other inmates would thank me when I designed them their birthday cards and their portraits, then that thing gave me strength to believe that, if I can manage to buy myself a sneaker while inside, how about when I'm outside, where I still wish even today, if we can create a road from Cape to Cairo without this, where you're gonna be questioned what you're doing, I can be rich. I can challenge this situation and become the first to run on the first lane, So I mean, when I had my first child, it was like, now I have a child that is needs my love, because I never had that. So I took what I never had, and then I gave it to my child. So I loved my child full time. I was there. I loved her. Even today, like right now, he's trying to call me all this and that. So I started to now form my own family. Now I have 2 children, a boy and a girl. Even though they are from different mothers, but I'm there. I love them because we are part and parcel of the game. We're pushing the hustle.
Yes, and you put them in your work as well. I think there was an image I saw of your son in your work.
I did both of them.
Yeah, you did both of them. Can you describe your work for us? Can you tell us about your medium, your technique, and your process? Because we have some artists listening in, and you've created your own unique. When you see a piece of yours, you know that's a Blessing Ngobeni painting. So tell us about your process, your practice, and is there a piece we could bring up so that the attendees can see, maybe as you're talking about it?
I think I don't have a piece where I'm creating, like where you see piece by piece, because the way I work is more of like it's a process, I always say I create a dialogue with an empty canvas, So I go through it into an empty canvas and start creating this dialogue with the empty canvas, and then finally it become a masterpiece. But most of all, I'm a mixed media person, so I work with art magazines. I work with the old masters to work in my work. So I privately collaborate with the work of other artists from across the globe. So any work that is that strikes my heart, that loves my heart, then I end up becoming the person who just puts layers and layers and layers. But through doing that is I want to create a dialogue between the old masters and the sorry, there's a friend who's talking here. Sorry, I'm still talking, sorry. So I create this like where I privately collaborate with the work of the old masters, because people like our own Dumile Femi, Gerald Sikotos, our own Jean-Michel Basquiat, for instance, I privately invite them to come into my work, because I never had an opportunity to meet Esther. I'm so sorry. Somebody switched off again the light.
Okay.
I don't know how to do this one. Let me just quickly go here.
There we go. There we go. You're good. You're good.
So yeah, so I'm trying to find the light here, because
you're great now. You're great. Yeah.
Okay, just Karen, just give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Somebody switched off here. I don't know why. Just 2 minutes. I'm just walking to my where the lights is. I'm so sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
There are people just disturbing me. Okay. Okay.
Michael, maybe you can bring up another piece while he's walking.
Okay. Yeah, I'm back to life. Sorry.
Okay, this is great.
Oh, sorry, I'm back to life again. Yeah. So the process itself, it takes me to do a lot of research in the magazines, you know, like bring up the work that's gonna also communicate with my energy. For instance, if I like your writing, if I like what you're writing, then I would print it out and then bring it into. So I kind of, at some point in my thinking, is I'm uniting different artists across the globe, you know, because there's a sense of disunity in the Black society, you know, hence already the Africa issue is divided, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to weave these things together through when I cut and paste, and then I call them non-existing figures, which most of those figures, they a long time ago, some they imaged in my dream, you know, and they disappear when I wake up, but when I walk into the canvas, they start to appear again, you know. If you look at the piece that is displayed there, what do you call it? Unchained Minds.
Unchained Minds.
This piece was inspired during when I was in, for instance, when I was in America, I saw so many cars, you know, like so many scrap cars around everywhere. So that's why you look at the picture, there's so much. So all my heads, the heads of that person is created by a car. So I was trying to give that idea of saying, the sense of ownership, who owns these ideas, who owns these cars, who owns whatever that is there, yet is not being used, you know. So I had, in my work, I have that thing of saying, I just bury things in my work, you know. So I might put your face there and then recreate it again, just visualizing how you might look like maybe when you are a piece of an artwork, you know, like an artwork, for instance. So I just create those kind of things through, but most of the things that I do is like, I just put layers and layers. So I rework and rework and rework over and over again. So, yeah, sorry, I don't know what's going on.
No, you're fine. What materials do you use?
I work with the acrylic paint. I don't know what's making noise. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, somebody's disturbing again.
It's okay. We're just going with it. We'll go with it.
Yeah.
We just put up the Walking Dead politics.
Cannot, so maybe. Just 2 minutes.
Huh? We can't hear you. You froze, Blessing.
Acrylic on brown paper sometimes, but mostly on these large scales. It's like I work with unprimed canvases, so I just start from the scratch up until when it's done. Yeah, the Walking Dead politics are made in China. Yeah, it's a recent piece that I did after the lockdown. So the whole research, I did the research when I was locked, you know, so I realized that even the Chinese, they hate a black skin, you know. The Chinese is a very dangerous person that is taking over most of our land in Africa. The Chinese is the person that don't think for another person, but only for himself, you know. Hence, you know about the Chinese system where if you did a petty crime,
Yes.
They ask you whether do you want to go and work for free or do you want to go to jail. So the Chinese labor system is another system that is further suppressing the black people, because the black people cannot have these jobs. You know, they bring their own workers who come and work for free for them, you know. And the Chinese right now, they are the ones that are taking over most of our big projects in Africa. And they are buying out land, all this and that. And then they become like another form of colonial kind of individuals who want to further suppress us, you know. So in the piece itself, when you look at it, I created, because there is a, they say it, the pangolins, they are the ones that brought corona. And then at some point they say the bats, they are the ones that brought corona. And then now they are victimizing, they are against the black person. They say black people must move out of China. And then the black person is the one that brings corona. So that's the question that are we deadly enough that we can be people that are being told, given all these things, that are being fed, you know, these lies, you know, because at some point there were like a video that was circulating on social media where this guy was like, a black person is the useless person in the whole world. You know what I mean? So my question was, if we were useless people in the whole world, why the Chinese man is walking into our Africa? Why is he here? You know what I mean? Why is he here? What is he looking for if he cannot, you know, give us a chance to live with him, but he wants to eliminate us? You know what I mean? So that was the question that I had in, you know, trying to question like why a black person should be the one that suffers mostly, you know, and then become a victim of everything, you know. So we are enemy, you know, we are enemies of, we are enemy without knowing that without knowing what did we do, what wrong, what is it that is wrong that we did, that each and every person sees us as a filthy people, as a useless people, all this and that. You know what I mean? So that's a question. Sorry. Oh, okay. I thought it was a question rising up there.
No, you're.
So yeah.
Yes. So how do you want people to feel when they're confronted with your work? What do you want people to feel when they see your work? Michael,
I want people to engage with the work, either negative or positive, either like it or not, you know, because in my work mostly I don't create a work for sale. For instance, I don't create with a mentality of saying I want to sell this piece, you know. I don't create a work with saying I'm doing politics. I'm not creating works or saying that I want this work to make somebody feel happy or feel angry, you know. I create what I feel. I create what I see. You know, when you look at especially this work that you see over the blue water nose, it's a question of if sharks and seawater had mouth to speak, we would now know how many other black people that were thrown in the sea and being fed in these sharks, you know. So it's a question mark that I also try to find an answer, you know, because I cannot find an answer. And at the very same time, I don't want people to like it or don't like it. I want people to engage, you know. So it's part and parcel of thinking. So we should think together and contribute together in terms of what exactly that holds us back, or what exactly that holds you back to not like my work or to like my work. So my work, for instance, when you look, there's so much details. There's a main character, which is a non-existing figure, and then there are tiny characters inside. So it caters for each and every heart. So you might not like the actual figure, but you might like a certain element that that you might come across in my work by reading the work, you know. So it's more of like bringing something to deal with, a puzzle, you know, bringing a puzzle to your space, and then you start dealing with the puzzle and solve the puzzle, you know.
Yeah, yes. You have compressed figures in here in your work as well. You have several figures. A lot of people have said that your work reminds them of Basquiat. And one gentleman in an article called you Picasso, a current day Picasso. You know, your figures, you cut out these collages, and then you place the figures on the canvas. Can you tell us how, has anybody influenced you, or is this all just by chance that this is how this is coming about, your own language that you've developed?
Yeah, let me take you through how all this happened. So I used to be a realistic painter long time ago. So a body of work that it was taken as a consignment with this other gallery in the CBD in Johannesburg. So he collected my work, you know, on consignment. And then in 2008, he gave me a call and said, come and take your work. And then after 5 minutes, he called me back and said, your work has been stolen. You know what I mean? So when he said the work has been stolen, I was like confused. Why are you saying, you called me now and then now you say the work has been stolen? What was it exactly? You know what I mean? Then I spent the whole year, I think 2009, I did not paint at all. I was just crying, you know, all this and that. Perhaps it happened that the nature wanted me to realize the other trueness of painting than being a realistic painter. So I started with one collage in a piece of board, because I used to work with recycled material. Yes. Then I started with single drip. You know, I realized that I'm falling in love with this drip, but I did not realize that it was a cry within me. You know, I was crying. You know, so it was my tears that was manifesting in these small pieces that I was creating. Then that time I did not know any artist, for instance. The only artist that I knew, whom I would say I read a book about, it was Gerald Scotto, the book titled Gerald Scotto in Exile. I read the book in prison. Then as I was reading in prison, I liked, I had the idea like, shit, I need to, one day I need my work to be in a book. You know, I want to put these things into the book. Yes. You know, so if I had to say that was the only artist that I knew. I never knew about Basquiat. I never knew about Jean Miro. I never knew about Picasso and all other artists that the art analysis sees my work through, you know, through that person. Then I never knew, but I had to make follow-ups after when people or art writers and the media start speaking to me about it. So I had to make a follow-up, start following up Jean-Michel Basquiat. I mean, I remember when I was still at Artspace studio, one of my friend, I think Temba, I can't remember, Temba Kumal is also an artist. He was like, hey man, do you know this guy? I'm like, I don't know this guy. Like, yo, you must watch this documentary. Then I saw Jean-Michel Basquiat's documentary. Then I went crazy. I loved the way he was thinking around the art, the way he was questioning the status quo of the American system, you know. So through that, I became a fan. You know, I started to read about about Jean Miro's, Picasso's, and then I started to read about the Surrealism movement itself. People like André Breton, who the founders of Surrealism movement. So the question was that I like the idea that they used this movement to protest against the system, so it was a form of like protest where they protested against the system, So through that, it made me realize that, oh, I can have my own voice. So that's how my style manifested. And then I never knew that what I was doing was a good thing, because people would, especially my peer group, your work is like, it's there's something they call it like a child's work, yeah, what, So for me, I never felt like I was doing something up until when I realized that the media was, all over me. They wanted me, the TV shows, all these people, art writers, people criticize, my work and then engage, By doing that, I realized that, meaning my work is doing something in the art industry. There's contribution that is putting in the art world, you know. So that's how I finally fell in love with my style, the style that I'm creating. So I still say I created my own language, even though there is a piece of Picasso, a piece of Jean-Michel, a piece of different people. There's realism work there, So it's more of like unpacking what I feel is fine for the canvas to have in the thing as an artwork,
Right. There's so many people that refer to that. It's your own dialogue. It's your own language that you've created, which I think is fantastic. The other thing, Blessing, I want to wrap up here because we're running close on time here, but I wanted to talk a little bit about your giving back to the community. I want to talk about the Blessing Ngobeni Studio Art Prize and the initiative, because there's not a lot of artists that actually give back to society in the way that you are giving back to your community. Could you tell us a little bit about those, please?
Yeah, the Blessing Ngobeni Art Prize started, I started it 4 years ago. So this is our 4th year. And then we have a winner already. The guy is based in Cape Town. The problem, it happened that the corona virus came and then destroyed the whole plan. But this year we had partnered with some other friends of us who has spaces in London. So we raised funds, so that the artists can go to London for 2 weeks and come back, so that you can get that inspiration and get exposed at a young age, So, but basically with the Blessing Ngobeni Art Prize, what we normally do is it's a self-funded project that I thought it can be a useful project for young thinkers, because we have so much young thinkers that cannot have opportunity to showcase in a gallery space. So for me, by inviting them to come and take a 3-month residence with us, mentoring the artists, introduce the artists to different spaces, museums, galleries, other artists, it inspires that person to grow, to not think with a box, but to think without a box at all, So it's a project that I donate one of my work almost each and every year. Like now I should donate maybe one piece for that gonna be taken to an auction, and then whatever funds that comes from that auction, it goes straight to the Blessing Ngobeni Art Prize account, which just wait for another artist to walk in to like another call out, and then whoever that gets selected get an opportunity to. But the whole thinking around it is to prepare fresh minds who can take over when we are getting old. Because I'm trying to also show the leadership of Africa that you cannot stick into power till when you die on the chair. You need to give these young minded people who can be flex and be, can run the country quickly, you know, because if you're gonna die on the position, what is it that you're showing us? Why are you so greedy, you know? So I'm trying to give that mentality, that idea to say we can, as much as we are collective, we can do better. So we need to give the youth the chance, and the youth is the future of the country, remember. So that was the whole idea. So we choose different. We don't choose from anywhere in the country, like from anywhere. We choose anywhere from Africa, even from America. If that person has money to flow himself down, we can have the artists, because the whole idea is to create unity than divisions. You know, to allow Africa to crisscross, to walk around anyway, anyhow. So that's how that initiative came about. So I want to keep bringing up fresh-minded young artists. One of the artists, I think last year, the first winner. Yeah, I think the first winner is now taking over the world. It's called Tendai Mupita from Zimbabwe. He's after when he got the residence, he won the award. He got a lot of opportunities. He went to America. Now he has a show in Australia. He was showing me, I think 3 days back, all this and that, like, hey man, this is how it pushes, you know. And our second winner also, she's doing very well. She got a deal with Stevenson, you know. Our third winner, she's also traveling, you know. So we're waiting for the fourth one this year and see how this young artist can also take over the flight and showcase his skills across the globe.
Well, that's wonderful. Is there a place that people could go? Is there a website? Is there a website that people could go? What is that, Blessing?
It's www.blessingobeni.com. So you go there. It's my website, but you go there and you go to, it's going to link and show you where to go. There's initiatives and the stuff. You know how website goes, like it gave you like all that you need under the thing. But the PNAP, Blessing Ngobeni Artspace, appears anyway in my website. Then you can, it's www.blessingobeni.com.
All right, I think that's fantastic. We're pretty much out of time here, but is there anything else you would like to say before we close out today?
I would like to say, Africans, Black Africans, Black Americans, let's now start thinking together. Let's now start working together as a team. Let's now start supporting each other. There's so much great leadership in Africa, but the problem is we are not being given like an opportunity to do stuff and lead. You know, so we need each other to eliminate that and then bring back our dignity as Black people. And support each other and share the little things that we have together. Share ideas, think together. You know, that's my wish. I want unity. I want us to unite, because otherwise, if we don't unite, the white person is coming for us, piece by piece. It's finishing us piece by piece. So, we need peace amongst ourselves.
We do need peace. So, Blessing, that's beautifully said. And again, I want to thank you for coming to us. Now it's about 10 o'clock at night where you are. But thank you so much for taking the time and speaking with us.
Thank you very much. See you soon.
Okay. Take care. Namaste.
Cheers.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.